Hello, and how is everybody doing? We are excited. This is a special Tuesday webinar, a mental skills training webinar, and usually we have these on Wednesday. I'm your host, Coach Terrence Wood, and I have a young lady with me that is our partner, Erica Westoff, and she does an amazing job, you guys, of working with student athletes, professional athletes that want to take their game to the next level, that are looking for that edge. A lot of times, athletes, especially young athletes, don't correlate the fact that they can get more out of being mentally prepared, mentally healthy, and mentally strong. And that is what our webinar is all about. We have these every Wednesday, you guys. Today's Tuesday, but you have to start checking out for these webinars. Sometimes it's SAT, ACT. Sometimes it's recruiting. Tonight, it's mental skills. This is a one-stop shop for you guys to be prepared and get to the next level. So we are excited to have Erica. How's it going, Erica?
It's going great, Terrence. Thanks for having me back.
Definitely. We are getting a great feedback from people about your content. So we love it. And I'm going to get out your way because I talk too much anyway to these kids. So enjoy and kill it. And we'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. And I've got a great topic for you today. And it's a concept that you're familiar with, but we're really going to break it down so that you can take full control of your commitment. And this is something that needs to be done internally so that it shows externally. And there's no doubt that coaches can easily read your commitment level. This is not something that you can fake. It's not something that you can get by hoping that your commitment level is what it needs to be. This is something that you need to decide to do, and you need to take action on it every day. So let's just start quickly with a definition. And commitment, just so we're all on the same page, commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to your sport. Okay, so this is just, it's a state, it's a choice, it's something that you choose to do. And some of the different ways that commitment shows through, one is through your body language. And this is what coaches are really good at reading. Is your body language, is it confident? Is it strong? Are you, even when things go wrong, are you getting right back up and going back at it again? Effort. Do you have sustained effort, meaning you don't work hard sometimes, but you work hard all the time? It's also important that commitment is for on the field. It's also off the field. Okay, great players have to manage both sides, not just on the field, but off the field matters a lot too. All right, so let's jump in here. And first of all, I love this quote because it talks, or it speaks to commitment so clearly. And it's, success isn't given, it's earned on the track, on the field, in the gym, with blood, sweat, and the occasional tear. And anybody, any athlete who's played at a high level, a reasonably high level, relates to this. Nobody gets to a high level of their sport without blood, sweat, and tears. It's just part of the journey. All right, so we thank Nike for that one. And let's look a little closer and really break down commitment and what it looks like. So this is the commitment continuum. And this comes from a book called The Team Captain's Leadership Manual, written by Jeff Jansen. And I love using this continuum. Oftentimes what I do for my athletes is this becomes an exercise that they go through with their coach, sometimes with their fellow team captains or teammates. So they get a real clear look at not only what they believe their commitment is, but how other people actually see their commitment as well. So the first two levels, we probably don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about what a resistant commitment looks like or what a reluctant commitment looks like, because anyone who fits into these categories is not looking to play in college. Okay, these are people, these are usually young athletes who might be forced. They're there to play, not for reasons that are their own. Maybe their parents want them to play. There may be external reasons why they need to play. So they don't really want to be there. Okay, and nobody gets to a high level if they don't really want to be there. So we'll leave the resistant and the reluctant commitment as is. So we'll start with looking at what an existent commitment looks like. Okay, so these are guys who show up and they're there physically, they're on the field, but they're not plugged in, they're not engaged, they don't care about necessarily doing a great job. They're just kind of going through the motions. And existence can go further than you might think. So these are athletes who maybe want to be there, but don't quite have the motivation they need to play at the level they're at. Maybe they like parts of the game, but not all the areas where they have to do the work. So these can show up, and hopefully we don't have a lot of existence here in the before you go pro world, because these guys aren't going to go too far. But my guess is you probably know some of these existence. You've had them on your team, and they can, if you are on the much higher level of commitment, these existent guys are really tough to hang out with because they just aren't, there's no edge to them. They aren't putting in the work that needs to be done. So let's move up another level. And now we're looking at the compliant commitment, okay? So this is an athlete who, they're referred to as the obedient soldiers, meaning they do what they're told, but they don't really go above and beyond. So coach says, do this sprint 5 times, they do the sprint 5 times. Maybe not at full effort, but they're going to get it done. They'll do what they're told, but they're not bringing their own commitment, their own motivation, their own discipline. None of that is coming on the field with them. None of that exists internally. They're completely motivated by the outside world. Okay. So when we look at teams, especially at the youth level, you'll see a fair amount of compliance on a team. Because at the youth level, the compliant can kind of get away with being on the team. The compliants don't work at the college level. They don't make it to the next level. They don't have enough effort. They don't have the right body language, the right attitude. If they're compliant on the field, maybe they don't care about making good choices off the field. Okay? But think about this. Think about yourself, and also think about your teammates. And who is it that fits into this compliant? Because this is a guy that's on the fence. If he could step up his game just a little bit and be committed, there's a whole different set of possibilities for him. And if he doesn't pull it together, if he's on the fence and he goes the other way, he quickly becomes existent and his sports career just got really short. Okay, so recognize who those compliants are. See how you can get more out of them. Now we're moving into the realm where if you're serious about playing at the next level, you've got to be committed or compelled. All right. So the committed player does more than just goes through the motions, but they do what they're told. They show up with their own performance goals. They show up with their own motivation. They show up with their own discipline. So that when they're on the field and they're given instructions, they're on it. They're going hard. They're getting up. They can shake off a mistake. when they're having a rough day, they can pick up, they can keep going again. They're committed to getting it right. Okay, so these guys, because they go the extra mile, because they're doing the work off the field, they're doing extra training, they're making sure that they're fit, they're making sure that they're doing their strength and conditioning, they're doing whatever it takes to get to that next level. These guys are highly committed. And again, the coaches can see this in the body language. They see it in the effort. They see it in the attitude, the relentless attitude that they have. And again, these guys are making good decisions on the field and off the field. One step up further, up the ladder here, is the compelled athlete. Okay, and this is a guy who's just going to find a way. He's going to find a way to be successful. And he may or may not be the most talented guys. Oftentimes, these are not the most talented guys because the slightly less talented guys have to work a little harder. They have to be compelled to be successful. They have to develop a belief in themselves that they can be successful, and they'll do it. They'll find a way. So they're doing everything that the committed athlete is doing, plus more. Everything within the rules, within the bounds of healthy behavior. The compelled athlete is getting the job done. Okay, if there's a brick wall, they're going to run through it. And you see this a lot. Great examples of this in college football are often the walk-ons. Walk-ons have nothing to lose. They're there to fight and scrap and build until they get a spot on the team. And they have to be compelled because of the way that they came into the team. They have to be fully committed, and they have to find a way to be really successful. And of course, there's a lot of success stories. There's some very notable ones in college football who have walked on and found their way to the top of the sport. So great examples of compelled athletes. Now, it's also incredibly important to look at what happens when you cross the line. You cross the line from healthy, hardworking, compelled athlete, and you cross that line into becoming obsessed. Okay, and obsessed, I find with young people today, is kind of, it has a positive connotation to it, like, oh, I'm so obsessed, this is such a great thing. But obsessed is not good, because obsessed means that we're going too far. We're crossing a line into dangerous behavior. This is the type of behavior where watching what I eat turns into an eating disorder. This is where getting your strength and conditioning done and overdoing it turns into some serious injuries. This is where going for an extra run to help get a little more fit turns into 5 to 10 miles, and you got nothing left in the tank the next day on the field. This also, you can cross this line into performance enhancing drugs, not believing that you can do it on your own. So finding a way through the use of performance enhancing drugs. You have to be on this obsessed. Somebody who's healthy and compelled will not cross that line. Somebody who's obsessed may cross that line. Okay, so there's a very fine line and an important difference between an athlete who's compelled to find a way, who's going to walk onto a team and just decide to be really, really successful. It's a fine line between that player and somebody who becomes obsessed and starts to cheat and starts to break the rules, all in the name of trying to be successful or win a spot. So this exercise, again, this is a reflection exercise. I want you to really honestly think about where you fall on this continuum. This is great awareness building. If you think you might be somewhere between compliant and committed, then you need to make a list of the things that you need to do to be more committed. If you are committed and you want to step up that ladder to compelled, again, you need to make a list. Better yet, ask your coach, Coach, what do you need to see from me in order for me to move up the ladder here? Okay, that feedback can be so valuable, but you got to be brave and be willing to ask for it. And let's think about for just a minute if there is a lack of commitment. So maybe for some reason you have days or you go through a phase of feeling more resistant or reluctant to the work that's required. Think about how that's going to impact your body language. Think about how that's going to impact the effort that you put into every drill. Think about what that's going to do to your attitude when things are not going great. Think about what that might do to your choices off the field. All right, so any lack of commitment that you might have is a real easy way to lose big opportunities. Okay? Commitment is controllable. That's the good news. You choose on this continuum where you want to be, and then it's just a matter of putting in the work. You're here because you got big goals and you want a lot out of your football career. So choose wisely on this continuum. And again, I really encourage you to take this, have a conversation with somebody that you trust. A coach is ideal. Somebody in your program that can sit and go through this with you, get their feedback. If you're not where you want to be, figure out how you can step up that ladder and get to the next step. All right. So as always, we've got an offer for you. And I'm offering a free 20-minute consultation. If this is something, if your commitment needs some work, if you want to build your confidence, if you really want to get your hands dirty with the mental skills, go ahead and click that button. That'll put you right through to a form that will connect you and I, and we'll go ahead and set up your free 20-minute consultation where I can learn a little bit more about your needs as an athlete, and it'll give me a chance to tell you more details about my program, how it works, how it can help you work towards those career goals that you have. Okay? All right. I appreciate the time. Coach, you have anything for me?
That was amazing. I mean, I'm sitting here. Obviously, I've got all my notes on how to keep my commitment strong, Erica. But, just a bunch of light bulbs and epiphanies as you're talking over some of these things that it brings me back to in my career, things that I know that these young men are going through. I think I've literally been on every single spot from existence to compliant to compelled with the commitment,
Yeah.
So here's a question, because this is something I went through. What about the athlete that's at the compelled level, and then for whatever reason, some momentum goes in the wrong direction. Now they're just existing. I know that you can get back to compelled, but what are maybe some tips or some advice on how to start in that journey or in that direction?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. And first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that that's a very normal part of the journey is,
Okay.
we don't build up to compelled and just stay there our entire career. Sometimes when we look at the pros and it seems like they do that, it's because they've had so many ups and downs because they've climbed up and down this ladder so many times working their way up to the pros. But when you inevitably find yourself in that low level, my first question would be, what's going on? So are you burned out? Do you need a break? Sometimes that's the case. With football, you actually have the benefit of having a pretty short season, which is actually a really good thing motivation-wise. There's too many sports that are going year-round, and kids really start to suffer with motivation. So one of the benefits of the football season is a shorter, shorter season. But when you find yourself, so if it's something like burnout, then usually it's some rest, is taking a break is actually needed. But if you're finding yourself just really frustrated because performance isn't where you want to be, then again, it's time to sit down and really look at what's going on. So this is something I do a lot with my clients, is really start to break down what's happening with their performance. Why aren't they performing as well as they should be? It's a very common thing that I see with my athletes, where they're playing great in practice and then kind of falling apart in competition. You know, the game day doesn't work well because of the pressure that comes with it. So we break that down and understand it. And sometimes too, at the youth level, there can be, kids can go through growth spurts. They can, they go through phases where at one point they were the strongest, the fastest, the tallest, and now they're not. And so they're having to work their way up again. So you really got to understand what's going on. But that gets
back to the self-awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And really using your coaches, your trainers, your people around you, your mental training to really break it down, figure out what's going on, and figure out how to start stepping back up the ladder again.
Here's another question for you, because we get parents that consume this content and they're trying to support their child. You mentioned obsessed. And I've been there personally. And for the young kids and families, I hope you guys really, I don't have a copy right here with me. I might in my bag, but really, well, I got the poster behind me. This book, you guys, is a very honest book. In that book, I talk about being injured at the professional level, feeling like I was going to get cut, and going to steroids, trying steroids.
Yeah.
And what Erica said is that, according to her, I was obsessed. I was getting into an area that you don't want to be in, and I would agree with her. I was feeling desperate. Yeah. And I felt like I didn't have the control, and I needed to use something to help me or aid me. So, maybe as a parent, Erica, what are some things we should look at in our young son and or daughter, in this case, son, that may trigger us to maybe see if they need help or if they're getting obsessed?
Yeah. So, really good question again. And I think, so when you tell your story, what was driving you to use steroids to potentially help you was the frustration or the anxiety that you were feeling about not being where you wanted to be.
Yes, and probably the illusion that I couldn't do it on my own.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And wanting a quick fix, not being quite willing to go through the channels that are slow and take time and are a lot of hard work. And
I felt like I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's a week by week thing, especially, at that level. And I think I just succumbed to the pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, but what you're saying is that had everything to do with your emotional state. Yes, and very little to do with your actual injury.
Yes.
So from a parent standpoint, and for anyone, coaches, anyone who is, on the periphery of these athletes, is you've got to check in with them emotionally to see where they are. What's their frustration level? How are they handling it? What is their plan? How are they, what resources are they using to solve their problem? Because it's especially these kids that don't necessarily want to cross the line, they will when they feel desperate enough.
Yeah.
So there's got to be ways that you're checking in to make sure that desperation, that emotional well-being is chipped away. Yeah, because that would change the choices and behaviors.
Wow, if they feel like there's tools there and resources.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, I got goosebumps right there, because I know we're helping some kids, Erica. And thank you so much for coming and sharing that information tonight.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
All right, you guys. So, hey, I'm telling you, you have to get with Erica. She does this on a daily basis. She works with elite athletes across the country, guys getting ready for the draft, student athletes at the high school, college level. She can help you unlock those things that you might not even know are locked up there that you can use as a resource to take your game to the next level. So you got the 20-minute free consultation. What we're doing right here with Erica is for a broad audience. But if you want her to get more specific about your situation, about helping you specifically get to the next level, then get that free consultation. You can reach out to Erica or reach out to us so we can give you the information for Erica. So thanks once again, and we look forward to seeing you again soon, Erica.
All right. Thanks so much, Terrence.
All right. So, hey, you guys, that is it for tonight. And we are ending the webinar. Hopefully you got a lot out of tonight. Join us next week. We'll see you at the top. Have a good one.